Hello, Degens. Welcome for another episode of the Degen Radio podcast. And today I'm very honored to be joined by Mike Silagadze, the founder and CEO of Ether.fi, the leader liquid staking protocol in the Ethereum ecosystem. So, Mike, first, thanks for coming. And can you introduce yourself a little bit and talk about your past experience as a founder and why did you choose to join the space and founding Ether.fi?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And happy to be here and chat about what we're doing. Yeah. So I mean, as you mentioned, Ether.fi is a liquid staking protocol with restaking built into it, integrating into EigenLayer. So that's the hot narrative of the times in the Ethereum ecosystem, at least. With respect to my background and how I got into the space. I started and ran another company that I started out of university called Top Hat, which was an education technology company. I ran that for about 10 years. Business got to be a good size. By the end of it, I think we were on 450 to 500 employees, and growing really fast. We then exited the business to a private equity fund, and that was a good opportunity for me to focus on my what at the time was sort of a side passion in the crypto space and DeFi. So the way that I entered the space is that it actually started as a fund whose purpose was to stake ETH. We thought that was just a straightforward way to get started in the category. And in evaluating all the different options that were available for staking, it became pretty clear that there wasn't a product that we were comfortable using, and that there was an opportunity to create a product for ourselves that was kind of a next generation sort of staking protocol that had restaking and a much stronger non-custodial proposition than others were offering.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's very interesting. And so, did you were running like the fund in parallel with Top Hat, and then you switched to founding Ether.fi?
No, they were sequential. So I exited Top Hat and then started the fund that then turned into Ether.fi.
Oh, that's interesting. And so, yeah, you said like about the non-custodial characteristics of Ether.fi. I remember when the first time that I went through your guys' docs, like April, March last year, and this was like what like caught my attention. I was like, oh, that's interesting, like a new liquid staking protocol, but like with some like innovation that we didn't have in the other products that were coming. So yeah, did you guys always thought about like doing the liquid the restaking, or this was like something that it came along after it?
Yeah, believe it or not, it was actually the vision of incorporating restaking was there from day one. Literally, when we raised our seed round, the idea was to incorporate restaking at the root of the protocol. The non-custodial building block and the key management, I guess, where stakers control their keys, was the starting point. But the intent always was from day one to focus on restaking.
Oh, that's pretty interesting, and like was like very like new and like kind of bold at the time, and that like Alien was like far from coming online. And so yeah, I kind of fast forward for like the state of now, but can you give like an overview of Ether.fi and like the phases that you guys like you started with the early adopter program, then after you went for the Ether fan, and are you, as you guys are now with the leading liquid staking protocol, can you like talk a little bit about like how was that the road so far for Ether.fi?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started with delegated staking, which is basically the building block that underlies Ether.fi, and that allows a user to generate their keys, mint NFT representation of a validator that then is delegated to a node operator. That was the first thing that we launched. I think that was in the summer, around June, that we launched that. But actually, as you say, yeah, we started with the early adopter program where, I mean, it was really a last minute thing that we decided to do. It was just a deposit contract where you could put ETH and it accumulated points. It really didn't do anything other than just, you put in ETH and various LSTs and accumulate points. So it was a good way to build like an initial bump of TVL. I think we got it up to like 40 million in TVL relatively quickly, which was really exciting. And as I said, then we launched delegated staking, and then we sort of took a bit of an interlude to launch Ether.fi, which is an NFT project backed by Liquid, backed by Ether.fi staking. And that was a fun. We just thought it might be an interesting thing to sort of keep people occupied until we actually released our liquid staking offering. But after that sort of interlude, we then continued building the liquid staking or liquid restaking protocol, and then launched that in November. And then since November, I would say the uptake has been pretty solid. We're up to 550 million in TVL. I think we're currently about 26% of all restaked ETH on Eigenlayer, which is frankly getting concerningly large. So we're trying to think about what we can do if we get too large a share. But hopefully, the entire ecosystem continues to grow.
Yeah, you guys are the first, and I think for now, it's still the best product, and the graph, like the TVL graph in chart in DeFi Llama is like a straight
it's just
up
a straight
parabola.
line, yeah.
Yeah, it's a straight line. It's not even a parabola. It's a straight line.
Yeah,
and
mm-hmm.
I think like people just want to experiment new stuff, and you guys came with a new primitive, with Eigenlayer, and then you came in December. Everything grew like very crazy, and so on the liquid restaking front, you said about you have like 26% of all the restaked ETH, right? And so you guys are committed to limiting for the if you get to above 25% of the liquid stake of the staking market, right?
Yeah.
So, but don't have anything with restaking right now, right?
I mean, restaking is still a pretty small percentage of ETH staked. It's about 2 billion, but 900K ETH out of how much is staked? Like 30 million last I checked or so.
I don't remember, but it's like 10%.
So it's only a few percent.
Yeah,
it's a few percent of staked ETH. The risk comes from two sources. One, if that gets very large, and then more importantly, I guess if once restaking services come online, if there's some inherent risk associated with them, it's a little bit hard to tell. I think, depending on the exact mechanics, I think something like EigenDA is a pretty low risk proposition. One can be imaginative, but it's hard to imagine like EigenDA really creating Ethereum consensus issues. So that to me is like a great value as far as restaking service. But one can imagine other restaking services posing more of a risk if they get very large.
I think like you said, it's hard to tell, right? Like we don't have anything to really live yet. So regarding but even like if you I'm not technical enough, so even if we have like a DVT and like the validator controlling all the keys, even if we have that, if you guys grow like too much, you can pose a centralization risk anyway.
Sure.
So that makes sense to self-limiting. But like you said, like restaking is still growing, and another like a risk that people like to highlight, and I want to hear from you, when like people talk about like liquid restaking protocols, and you get like Eigenlayer, we get the whole like restaking risk, and if we get a huge like slashing event and etc. But when we get liquid restaking, people like to say that we got another risk with other AVSs, like depends on the AVS you guys choose to validate, you get another layer of risk. So can you elaborate a little bit about that, about these risks, and like what kind of like measures you guys are taking so you don't like take only safe AVSs like EigenZA, like you said, or others? Are you guys already looking into that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of hypothetical risks associated with restaking services. You know, there's obviously the most direct risk of getting your ETH slashed. There's cascading slashing that could happen, especially if that's correlated. In other words, if slashing in one AVS leads to slashing in another, leads to sort of base Ethereum slashing. There's the potential for, if something gets too big, to start putting pressure on kind of the overall Ethereum consensus, or you know, burning just in excess of ETH, or yeah, creating other issues. So there's lots of risks, and lots of people are, you know, smart people are thinking about those risks. I don't know that we're comfortable yet of sharing our risk management framework. It's something we're spending a lot of time talking about, and speaking to other folks who are thinking about this problem. But like, I wouldn't be able to speak super intelligently about it yet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's interesting. Like, yeah, I think we're gonna keep moving and like getting like new stuff, and like the Ethereum community as a whole like moves very like safety. It's concerned with safety. So yeah, I think we're gonna, like you said, a lot of smart people working on like solving these problems and like mitigating those risks. So yeah, that's nice to hear. So Mike, yeah, moving like on from the technical part and going a little bit more for the biz dev side, you guys like are killing with the integrations right now. You guys like are like Maverick, Sommelier, Pando, Curve, Balancer, and now Silo. I think Morpho got a proposal approved, right? Yeah. So you like a liquid staking or restaking token, like you need liquidity and like integrations for the protocol to succeed. And you guys like are shipping like one like every other week. You guys are shipping a new partnerships. So how are you approaching these integrations and like some strategic protocols like Pando? I saw like a huge boom in the usage and a lot of people asking about it. And so how are you guys approaching to it, and like you being able to do like being so good at it right now?
Yeah, I think it's just being super active and you know, reaching out to folks and like trying to get as many of these things integrated as possible. I mean, I think for a liquid staking token to be valuable, I mean, it has to be basically integrated into everything. So like our goal in the next few months really is, you know, every single protocol in the top 200, let's say, we want to be plugged into. If it makes sense, obviously, you know, some of them don't apply, but like we take just every single one that users actually use, we want to plug into them and beyond. We want to make it easy for others to, you know, to plug us in as well. So, so that's like the mandate right now. We're also working on, you know, our token announcement or token launch, which is scheduled for, you know, mid to late April. And so that's going to, you know, integrate us into centralized exchanges as well, which I think will create a lot of value. Yeah, I mean, and we've got a lot of other stuff in the pipe that I think will be surprising and exciting to users. Like our ultimate goal is just to create a really kick-ass product that the users love and you know, love using, and creates a lot of value for them.
Yeah, it's good to know that you guys are like working in some other like new stuff. Can you give like any spoiler on new integrations right now? Just a tiny spoiler, man. Come on.
Well, yeah, we talked about Morpho, so that's coming. I mean, there's a bunch of other. I don't know that I want to talk about them until they're ready. But Morpho is like literally today. That's live. I don't even think it's been announced, but it actually, the pool just got turned on today.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
And that's exciting. That one, I mean, we're throwing a lot of incentives at that pool. I think we're like $40,000 or $50,000 worth of incentives, and then Morpho is topping that up. So that pool could get quite large because it of course creates an opportunity for people to leverage stake. In some ways, it creates a Pendo-like product because people can put in ETH, borrow ETH, and loop in order to get leveraged restaking, in addition to getting the restaking yield. So you're getting the yield and the points, whereas in Pendo you kind of have to choose. You have to choose yield you have to choose yield or points.
If you get the yield token, you get like the yield but not the points. If you get the principal token, you got the point but not the yield. Is that right?
Sort of the reverse, actually. The way it's the reverse. Yeah. I mean, Pendo is complicated, but the basic idea is if you buy the principal token, you lock in essentially a fixed yield if you hold it to maturity. If you buy the yield token, you're effectively giving up all the ETH, but you're getting like leveraged points farming.
Yeah, and
you're not really at the price that you're paying for it. You're essentially not getting any yield, ETH yield, but you're getting lots of points. Which is an interesting bet. I mean, it's kind of cool how the market is like price discovered that like, okay, 30% is the right interest rate for that. Just doing some back of the envelope sort of spreadsheet math, it doesn't seem that crazy, honestly. It's probably not far off, if you think about the potential value of the points. It doesn't seem that crazy, actually.
Yeah, that's it. Like the points, like the speculation on the points is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I think like this drives like this flywheel. And people will still go crazy because even after you guys drop the token, Eigenlayer probably won't have it yet. So people will still speculating on the points. Yeah. So it's still like 30%.
Well, that's I think that's the piece that people are probably not. That's hard to model. Is like what kind of exposure is this is it going to have to different protocols? Altlayer was the first one, and you had to be very strategic. I mean, you had to basically Sybil. You had to like have lots of wallets sort of farming it. But if you were strategic and you did that effectively, which I guess I'm sure lots of smart players are doing, I don't know what that might have been like a 2 or 3% bump, right? So if you think about that, okay, well, are there going to be more? Are there going to be 5 AVSs, 10 AVSs? Like, there's going to be other stuff happening. The sort of 15% effectively, that people are paying for the 6-month lock, it doesn't seem that crazy. Like it could be higher, it could be lower, but it doesn't seem that crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you put like what I can achieve with this, like the upward potential, it's not that crazy. Like we have like a multiplying effect. So it's not that crazy. You talk about like Morpho and like doing like this leverage race taking. I like did like small experiment with like on Silo Finance, and it's live already, right? Yeah, I saw it on Silo on the weekend. I was like, just let's try this. And like the money market integration is like huge. So going back to the points and like the incentives, you guys were like you guys start to give points to user way before points like
since in April,
where
March,
March. I first deposited in Ether.fi in April, but
nice.
So I was like, dude, this guy's giving points. These points might be worth something. So I'm gonna take a little bit ETH and like let's see. I found it interesting. Let's try it. And so basically nobody was talking about like we're talking about points back then.
I was actually talking so I think it was Blur. I didn't know about it because I wasn't an NFT guy, so I didn't know that Blur was doing it at the same time. But I think Blur, like I want to say late February, they launched their point system.
February,
that was wildly successful. But again, and we launched it at the same time, not really knowing anything. And then the market, I think the market probably learned it from Blur. So the whole market took off, and everyone started copying that mechanism. Jito, of course. I mean, like there's a million.
Jito was like crazy. I know some people that like stake it like $100 and so and got like 20-30K like airdrop.
I don't know. I wasn't participating, but
I had like 2K and Sol stake it and got like 30 something K in airdrop. So
wow.
people got like very crazy. And like here in Brazil, like it's $5, it's like 1 Brazilian real. So yeah, it's a huge amount of money for like people in like here in the like global south actually as a whole. So yeah, people got like crazy, and like the points started to it started to go crazy and became like yield farming 2.0, like if we can call it like that. So do you have like a how do you see this like this dynamic for the market, like as like protocol that's doing this?
Look, with anything in crypto, crypto took a good idea and then just went totally fucking overboard with it. It's gotten really crazy. And so if we were launching today, I don't know that we'd do points, because it's so overdone, and people are kind of like, they're tired of it because it's overdone. So I don't know what I'd do differently. I don't know what I would do instead, but I worry that it's getting overdone. And I think a lot of, point systems aren't going to deliver, and people are just going to be like, just jaded by it. So we're probably on the tail end of like the last 3 to 6 months of like this points meta, and people will come up with something else.
Yeah, people like will start like now they will start some real Ponzi's. I think after that we don't have like a lot of place to run, like to safe place to run after like this points meta. And so like now to like I want to go move a little bit for like still our incentives, but now for like the NFT. I remember, I don't know if you still have it, like the Ether fan, you guys have stated in that would get like governance rights, and
that's right.
In the new framework, like you said, you guys gonna release, I think, in February, right? The DAO framework, and like, are you guys gonna play something new with the governance model? Can you talk a little bit about it, or?
I don't know that it's going to be that different than what other people do. I'll give a shout out to actually Diva, because we looked at their DAO governance model, and like we're taking aspects of that as inspiration. But yeah, otherwise there'll be a lot of similar stuff to what other people are doing. We're not quite ready. I wish I could just give you a direct answer. We're not quite ready to talk about the token utility and governance, other than to say that we feel like token utility and value accrual are really important. And so we are, when we launch the token, it will have utility and value accrual from day one. We're not doing the fee switch thing, which, we're just not doing that. It's going to have value from day one.
Oh no, that's that's something that I didn't know. That's interesting. That's nice. I think it's gonna be like a big like differentiation for like a competitive advantage for guys. I think it's gonna be the first one, like on the liquid staking front, that will have like some value.
Maybe on the liquid staking front. I don't know about how others. Almost every idea has been tried in crypto in that world. So I'm sure there's elements that other people are doing that we're not completely inventing something. But we're on the liquid staking side. I do think that we'll probably be the first to have a token that actually has like direct value accrual.
That's interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And I on the other side, what I want to bring here is like so you guys are growing like crazy, and like you have designed a very interesting like incentive model to like with some kinds of gamification to like bringing new users and like make fun to stake and try to get points. It's a dynamic that like crypto users in general, they like it, so they try to get points, get leverage with like stuff like Pando and like money markets. And how do you see like competition like moving ahead, like after you guys drop the token? You still have like the Líder product, the leading network effects. It's kind of like for like I think every project in crypto that's tokenless needs to deal with it. And like how do you see like competition? After you guys like started and get some success, a lot of new like liquid restaking products starts to come in alive, and we see a bunch of others in testnet. Like there's some good teams, there's some guys that are building something substantial, and there are guys that like just trying to serve the narrative. So how do you like see like the competitive landscape like going forward for Ether.fi after you guys drop the token and like the incentives diminish a little bit?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, well, that's where revenue and utility comes in, so that it's not like we're not just like launching a token to speculate on the token. There's hopefully value and revenue coming out of the protocol that continues to provide for users. And and with that, we're looking to add additional functionality and layers of products to the to the protocol. I'll talk more about what those are maybe in the future, but the idea is to add more layers of value to users so that they can makes their life easier as far as using the token in DeFi.
Yeah, I think like using the token DeFi like gonna keep a lot of people in the protocol. Yeah, probably including myself. I gonna, if I can use it in DeFi, and so why switch to another like provider? I think like a lot of people think like that. Yeah, so you can't say anything about like these new products yet, right?
Yeah, no, probably not yet. Soon though,
no,
like it's I mean, probably a couple of weeks we'll start announcing some of the cool things we're working on.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So yeah, I think like I could get like a nice insights from your view, like as a builder and like growing the success of the protocol. And yeah, you guys launched another initiatives like the Vamp, and there was another one. So
Mega Week.
Are you? Yeah, the Vamp and Mega Week. Yeah, just released Mega Week. I think like a couple of minutes before we started here, and so yeah, how like how is this going? Like the Vamp like hit the cap like pretty fast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it I guess on its own, it's it's pretty good. I think we've had about like 5 or 6 KE come in through DVAM. So like on its own, like that's not bad. But like in the context of a protocol that now has 230, 240 KE, it's like it's a small increment. But look, we're doing our little bit to help decentralize the network. And the Mega Week is just the we're doing something fun since EigenLayer deposit caps are opening up next week. So we want to do something that differentiates us and just gives people another incentive to deploy into Ether.fi.
No, nice. That like I'm looking forward like to see this go up like in the future. And yeah, I mean like I think we could touch it in like everything that I had prepared for. Dude, like just one last question. And every time that I get I guess here I took this from the up only playbook for Kobe and Ledger, and I asked for the guest for an alpha for people. It can be like around anything like building and anything in crypto. So can you share in like an alpha for the audience, something that people will like be very like happy and excited to listen, and that can do something good for them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say something really boring, which is unless you're a professional investor and you're in the top 1% of traders, you're very unlikely to outperform ETH. So probably the biggest alpha is like stop trying to trade and be cute and just like take some ETH, stake it, and don't worry about it for 10 years. That's probably the right strategy for like 99% of people who aren't who don't have any insider information, which is very hard to come by. But with that being said, like I don't know, try the barbell strategy. Take 90% and put it into staked ETH and don't worry about it, and then take some of the most exciting projects that are actually building a real tech. I would say that's probably what matters. Like not just tech, but like they're actually solving people's problems. To pick a completely random one, like something like Ondo. I mean, everything is trading at crazy valuations. So I don't know if I could recommend that as an investment, but like that's a good example of a product that like solves a real problem. It takes real assets, puts it on crypto rails, and I think that creates value. So look for products that you actually want to use and invest in those, and that's probably going to be, your best way to figure out what where to allocate. And don't try to trade stuff, day trade. Just invest and hold for the long term.
Yeah.
A good litmus test, I think, for investing is, are you comfortable holding this thing for 10 years? And if the answer is no, I'm just hoping to get a quick pump this week, it's not going to work. You're going to lose all your money. So only buy stuff that you think you're going to hold for 10 years. That if you put that as a filter, it stops you from making usually some really dumb investments.
Yeah, I agree with it. And like I think most of like retail people, like I did when I started, tries to overtrade and think is a genius because like you get in the bull market and like you burn yourself. So I think everybody did it at least once. So see you guys, buy some ETH, stake it with Ether.fi, like stack some Ether.fi points, some eigenlayer points, and don't overtrade, don't burn yourself. And Mike, thanks very much again for coming. This is like a pretty good conversation. And man, keep building, and congratulations for your protocol's success, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, enjoyed the conversation, and see you later.
See you.